Howdy, all of you delicious people. I'm here today to review 47 Ronin. So, there's something visually interesting about this movie, but there's not much beyond that. It's a bad film, but, I was interested in watching the whole thing. There was something about this that kind of felt very Last Samurai to me, and that was kind of the appeal of this movie. We have Kai, who just kind of drops from out of nowhere. They don't really know who or what he really is, but they end up saying that there's something special about him. So much so that Kai eventually is to be doing a bunch of special things that no one else is to do, but he is to not get credit for it, or even so he is to at points get punished for some of the things that he is to go on and do because there is no one else to do them. So Kai at some point is to slowly but surely start to lose Lord Asano and is to be pushed into becoming a no longer a samurai, to become a Ronin, where he is to have a masterless life, to then be pushed to have to go into slavery, and within a year's passing, we have Oshi, who was to be the second in command of Lord Asano, and Kai, who are wanting to seek revenge upon Lord Kira, who is to be the villain of this story, who is to use witchcraft to go on and try to get this kingdom and marry Mika. And so we have these two men that are want to eventually go on and try to do the right thing, and that right thing eventually leads to a very, very bizarre ending that is to just showcase to us that it's like, okay, so they're gonna do all this stuff for no good real reason, but I guess honor. I don't know. This was a flat film, visually interesting but flat. There were some visual things, like we go on and we have some foreman who is to be like this whole head to toe skeleton looking character that we see for a number of minutes in this film, and I was like, okay, this character is visually cool looking, but he's barely in the film. We have this silver samurai character that we kind of see at the visual of here, and I thought that character was really cool, but I don't think he was he should have been strongly used. There's so many things about this movie where I was like, man, if they could have gone on and kind of done these kind of things here, this probably would have been a way better off film. But so this movie is currently available on HBO Max. It's a bad film, but at the end of the day, you'll probably go out of your way to probably watch this anyways, because you might be interested about whatever this is. So with that said, I think I've kind of teed it up. I think it's time to just go into spoilers about this one. So with that said, I think it's about that time to just double five this bad boy up. Because it's about that time to just go into spoiler time. Spoiler time, it's about the time we get to spoil this movie. So in the very beginning of this film, we have Kai, who is to be on the ground with scars upon his head, and Lord Asano and Oshi are to go on and take this man, realizing that he could possibly be a part of some Tengu monks, or to be tied somehow or another to something fairly unique. Lord Asano is to go on and keep Kai, and have Mika go on and see Kai and say yeah, there's something unique about this guy also, but we just can't quite put the pieces together, as if he's some weird chosen one that we don't need right now. So come to find out, Kai is to at some point go on and be a pretty good tracker. he is to know that a broken twig is to lead to some animal, and so like that's kind of like the talent that he is to bring to the table here. And so that is to eventually lead Kai to find even bigger game, which when there's to seemingly be a monster or a creature rolling about, Kai is to go and figure out exactly where it's heading. So we have a creature or monster that they just keep calling a creature or monster in this film. I believe it's called a Kirin, but I'm probably ill pronouncing that. Or really, we have a creature-like character that is to be about the size of an elephant, and it has just a wild barrage of a number of animals that are like kind of mixed in within this one creature. Like it has a tail, it has like a bunch of just different kind of animal parts that are mixed all in together. Six-eyed creature, and like it looked interesting, but then again, it was also like this is this is so bizarre. So we have Yasuno, and we have Kai at some point having to get in very close because a bow and arrow just can't easily take this thing down. And they need to take this monster down before the Shogun is to arrive. And so we have it at one point where Yasuna is to try to attack this beast, and he eventually is to go down. Kai is to go on and take his sword and to stab into this thing, and is to drop it down. And Kai is to pull his sword back out, and so it seems that immediately when both Lord Asuno and Oshi arrive, they immediately give the credit to Yasano instead of Kai. So we have it where Kai is to, after this battle is to be done, is to have Yoshi notice that his hands are bloody and Yasuno is not. As well as also Kai is noticing that there is some fox with different colored eyes that was to watch this battle. Come to find out that this fox is to actually not be a fox, it's to be a witch. Teleporting or changing as if it's a changeling, where it can kind of go from animal to human. This witch is to go on and meet with Lord Kira and is to confirm that this animal was to have been killed, and that Kai, as long as well as Lord Asano and all these people are still, like, they're still alive. This monster didn't kill them all off. So really saying that Lord Akira has to go on and figure out some witchcraft-like way to eventually get his kingdom that he is to desperately want. So we are to have Lord Asano, who is to now be preparing for the Shogun to arrive. And so once the Shogun does arrive, it seems that they are to try to put on a number of things for him. And so the one thing that they end up trying to put together is a samurai match. And so Lord Kira is to go on and have his champion, which is this big, massive, silvered samurai character, which we technically see right here. And so we go on and have it to where the witch is to come into the camp of Kai's samurai and somehow poison him or make him ill to where this other samurai cannot compete. So we have Kai, who is talking to one of his other people, and is saying like, well, hey, like, we can't go on and just forfeit this, but there's no other samurai that can take this guy's place. So we then go on and have this samurai come out there with this red armor to face off against this silver samurai in the duel to the death. and come to find out that this samurai is none other than Kai. So we go on and have this battle going between the both of them, and Kai is trying to be quick against this monstrous looking samurai, this very large man. And so we have it at one point where Kai is to lose his headpiece, and he is to be found out that he, of course, was to battle, and it was not appropriate for him to go on and do so. So we forcibly have it to where Kai is to be punished by getting beaten by wooden samurai swords. You would think the battle would have been hard enough. No, this guy has to consistently get freaking smacked by these wooden swords. I'm like, you would have thought that he probably would have been whipped, but I guess really going on into this film, I'm like, I bet they're probably like, dude, we don't have money for like whips. We don't have that kind of money. We're just gonna beat this guy with wooden swords good enough, and he's just gonna take it. So we have Lord Kira that is desperately wanting to take down this kingdom so that way he can get it for his own. And so the witch is to go on and be able to concoct this spider that is to go into Lord Asano's place and to eventually put a spell upon him, which Lord Asano is to think that his daughter Mika is in jeopardy, and so he races off to fight this assailant, I guess, to think that Lord Asano is taking advantage of Mika, but that isn't the truth. It's just something that Lord Asano is seeing. And so Lord Asano is going on and stabbing into Lord Kira, having it to be that Oshi is to try to control Asano so that way he doesn't go on and kill this man. And Oshi is looking into his lord's eyes and realizing that he is somehow bewitched. Shogun is to all of a sudden to appear and is to make a judgment or pass judgment about what had all transpired here. We also had a moment where Kai was talking to Mika, and they obviously both love one another, and Kai is telling Mika that he will always love her, as Mika is to feel the same. So we come to find out that the Shogun is to have Lord Asano go on and eventually be put to death by Lord Asano going and stabbing into himself, while Oshi is to chop his head off. If we were to go on and watch The Last Samurai, we would have, like, the whole assistance of it all is just, like, wanting to quicken this death. So Oshi is to go on and chop his lord's head off, and the Shogun is to make the judgment that Lord Kira is to go on and marry Mika so that way he can have control of this kingdom. While before that day actually happens, Mika is to have the ability to take 1 year and grieve for her father. And during that year, we have Oshi, who is to be dropped into this prison cell, or this kind of bizarrish kind of like hole of sorts, and Kai is to be put off into slavery to eventually be in some fighter's pit or some slave pit to fight to the death consistently, while kind of being involved, I would assume, with seemingly kind of sailors or like pirates of sorts, it seems. because kind of like the look of these characters just feel very unsavory, as if they're kind of dealing with pirates and uh, and sailors, of course. So with that said, so almost a year has passed. Oshi is to have gotten released from his prison, and he is to immediately try to go on and find where Kai is, so both of them together can go up against Lord Kira, because Mika obviously does not want this marriage. So we go on into this film, and we have Oshi, who is to figure out one way or another where Kai is, and because all these guys are their own masters now, because they're all Ronins, and so they can go on and do their own missions. So Oshi is to find out that Kai is now fighting this much larger man, and it seems that Kai is to be fighting very well. Oshi is to be asking Kai, it's like, hey, how is it that you knew how to fight like that? And Kai is like, well, I've learned it from demons. Because, of course, like, there's so much about Kai that they kind of question about him, and how exactly he is to be able to do the things that he is to do. So we go on and have Kai and Oshi that get together, but the problem of it is now they don't have much of any like weaponry with them. And so now Kai and Oshi are to take all of the Ronins collectively together, and Kai needs to go on and figure out a way for them to get weapons. So Kai is to find out that the Tengu monks are to be able to have certain weaponry, and so Kai is to go and speak with the Tengu lord, and evidently there is some history between the two of them. For some odd reason, Kai was to have left the Tengu people and eventually like go on with the samurais. So but while Kai is having this conversation with the Tengu Lord, Oshi is to have to go on and do a test. Kai is to tell Oshi, no matter what happens, no matter what he sees within this room, to never draw his sword. No matter what is to all happen here, do not go on and draw his sword. So Oshi is to eventually wait for Kai to return, and all of a sudden we have all these Ronins who are supposedly being attacked, and the Tengu are to try to wipe all these Ronins out. Oshi is kind of freaking out here, but again, every single time he is to kind of keep his sword at bay, because he's like, I don't get what's going on here, but like, I was told by Kai to do one thing and one thing only. So Oshi never whips out his sword, and really that was the test for these men to get these weapons, was to simply have it where Oshi wasn't to put up this sword no matter what. So they are given all these weapons from the Tengu people, and Oshi was to give up his sword to one of the people from their town, because Oshi was going to come back with more weapons. So we go on and have these guys have all these weapons now, and so their plan is to go on and be a Trojan horse in some ways, meaning that there seems to be a number of actors that are making their way to Lord Kira's and Mika's wedding. And so we have all the samurais that are to disguise themselves as these actors to go on and put together this play, and then go on and attack Lord Kira and take down all of like the large samurai character that we end up seeing here, and try to take down the witch, and eventually just go on and try to take down all of these characters and kill them all off. So, as well as the Shogun being eventually present for all of this also. So, we go on into this film and we have it, of course, where, and I want to try to get everything correct here for the most point. We have it also where there is a scene where Kai is to notice the witch, realizing that she had the same eyes as this fox from before, and Oshi is to think, no, never mind about it, that it's probably just a coincidence. Well, come to find out, there was an ambush being set by Oshi's son, it seemed, and some of the Ronins were to be put ablaze because of that, all while having the samurais having to go on and deal with the larger silver samurai guy that which we see here. So it seems that one of the Ronin that is with Kai, who is Basho, is to be killed here. And so he is to have this story about, because he hated Kai, he would go on and throw stones at his home and then eventually would hide. And Kai is like, well, yeah, I saw your fat belly when you would go on and toss all those stones, so I knew it was you. So, and like, for the moment where I was talking about Kai, and I said samurais, I actually meant Ronins because they're all Ronins now. So every time that I probably had said like samurais, I probably meant Ronins, the Kai people. So, because I know I just said samurai, I was like, well, wait a minute, that's actually a Ronin, because they're Ronins now. But anyways, so we go on, and so we have it to where Oshi is to have to take down Lord Kira, and we have Kai who is to have to take down the witch. The witch is to teleport her or change herself into becoming a dragon, and so Kai has to figure out a way to take her down, as well as Oshi has his hands full trying to take down Lord Kira. So we have, of course, where both Oshi and Kai are to take down the dragon and Lord Kira, and so after this is to all happen, once Oshi is to take all of his actors and start to attack Lord Kira and all those people while they're doing this play. After that, after the whole aftermath of all this battling and all this fight is to be over, we have it to where Oshi and all of the other Ronins, Kai and everybody, as far as all the 47 Ronins, are to have to go on and have the Shogun tell them that they have to take all of their own lives, with the exclusion of Oshi's son, so that way Oshi's name can live forever through his son, but all the other 47 Ronins have to all kill themselves because of like the thing that they had gone on and done. So all of these Ronins are to willingly take their own lives and is to die, and that's how the movie just wraps up and finishes up. Very bizarre, but at the end of the day, in a very quick way, that is 47 Ronins for you. So, like, I didn't go into very specifics about most of this movie. I kind of rushed through it, but at the end of the day, also, that's the movie for you. So, with that said, hopefully, I think most of this movie was covered in a very rushed way, but at the end of the day, I'm going to get out of here. Bye, buddy. Bye, buddy.